Akbar.
Welcome to the Double D Experience.
Alright, Jimmy, I'm gonna practice Islam, Jimmy.
Ah, yes.
Allahu Akbar.
Ah, yes, Carl Wheezer. One of the most esteemed members of the League of Shadows.
He will fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny.
Ah, yes, Jimmy's mom is present. His boner rises.
You thought Jimmy's mom was your ally. You thought the llamas were your ally.
You merely adopted the llamas.
If, like, Carl met, like, someone who just loved llamas more than him, it's like, you thought the llamas were your ally. I was born in it, molded by it.
That's canon. There was an episode where, like, he meets this woman, right? He meets, he starts, like, he becomes pen pals with, like, this Swedish girl.
Okay.
And she's, like, way out of Carl's league.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like, they, like, try to, like, fake, he basically has been, like, telling her that he's Jimmy. Like, that he's, like, the he's the super scientist, that he goes on all these crazy adventures and stuff. So he, like, pretends to be him when they get there, and that Jimmy is, like, his dim-witted assistant.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually,
doesn't he give him shit the whole time, too?
Exactly. He gives him shit, like, the whole time, and then at the end of the episode, she, like, leaves him because it turns out she's, like, the #1 member of the Llama Love Society.
Oh, kids, now there's a valuable lesson in there. Gotta be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to be fair, though, like, I don't know, like, Carl always reminded me of, like, especially that whole episode, like, you know, how when we're young, we always have that bit of identity crisis and kind of, like, imposter syndrome. Like, it kind of, you know, it comes and goes as you get older, but, like, when you're young, like, there's always, like, because, you know, like, it's school, and plus, like, even outside of school, like, even as, like, a kid, you kind of have, like, these, like, sort of, like, insecurities, and plus, like, it's like, oh, you want to be part of the cool kids and shit like that. Like, a lot of peer pressure that kind of goes into it.
Yeah,
and,
man, I tried to get
like,
into the fucking Llama Love Society. But that shit didn't happen! We all have dreams.
You know, there probably is, like, some fucking real
I just
niche.
wanted a piece of that llama's ass, you feel me?
Like a real niche club out there for something real specific. Like,
I just wanted a piece of that Yokian's ass, you feel me?
Yeah, I just wanted a piece of Goobot's ass, you feel me?
I just wanted a piece of that duck's ass, you feel me? No, Wheezer. No, Wheezer.
I just wanted some of that Ultra Lord's ass, you feel me?
Would you like to be my battle buddy? Nuts. Oh, fuck. Another show that does that really well.
Oh, God. Oh.
Talks about those growing pains and even hit me as an adult was the Venture Brothers. That show really hits. Like, that show, like, if you were ever a teenage boy in your life, which statistically 95% of you listening are, or have been, is what I mean to say.
Oh yeah, guys.
Shout outs to the 5% of women who listen to us. Like, shout outs to Remy. Yes, Dennis, go on.
Yeah,
That's the podcast.
Oh yeah, you know, like, welcome to the podcast. Whatever. Anyways, yeah.
I mean, I said it as Bane. But it's just because I was being an idiot. I did say, welcome to the Double D Experience.
Yes, guys, we got Tom Hardy in the fucking house.
Did you know that the Double D Experience is Spotify's reckoning?
This is how he talks all the time.
You guys don't even understand, man. You want to know what true friendship is? Anyone listening, do you want to know what true friendship is? It's being a fucking absolute dumbass shit tier fucking idiot moron with your boy for like a half an hour after you finish recording your podcast that you do together, just saying a bunch of Bane quotes, but in SpongeBob situations. That is friendship right there, because that's what I did with this idiot. I swear to God.
That's S tier friendship for all of you. Just saying.
I'm not even kidding. Like, it was literally a half hour that we were just back and forth. Just like, take it.
I think we were
Bikini
also
bottom is yours.
we were also
So
going like
stupid.
back and forth saying like, oh yeah man, I gotta go, and then we just kept going for 10 more minutes every fucking time each one of us said like, oh yeah man, I gotta go, and then 10 more minutes of just, oh, you thought the darkness was your ally.
Oh, yes, goodbye, Dennis. I'm going to go back to the league. Like, we would just say stuff like that. That's just true fucking friendship. But honestly, yeah, the Venture Brothers really hits the nail on the head with that. I mean, that show's about like that show is like, if you ever want to try it out, which I really recommend you do, because I think they're concluding it with a movie like fairly soon.
Word.
And yeah, which I was really happy about, because that show got unjustifiably canceled from Adult Swim, because of course you needed to cancel that to make room for another season of fucking Squidbillies. Or some dumb shit like that. Or some like gross claymation show that you literally need to be on fucking acid to enjoy. Dude, I gotta say, Adult Swim, for the reputation it has, that whole network is so hit or miss. Their shows either fuck so hard, like Rick and Morty, The Venture Brothers, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, that kind of stuff, or they're just complete and utter fucking garbage that, like I said, you literally need to be on like some insanely strained weed, LSD, and like probably mushrooms all at the same time to get any semblance of joy out of. That's the thing with Adult Swim, man. Like, it's just so weird on that front, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, go on. What were you gonna say?
No, I'd have to agree with you on that, just because like Adult Swim has had so many good shows. There's more good than bad, really. At least back in the day. But I don't watch TV no more, so like I don't even know like what exactly is good on Adult Swim right now. But I mean, from when I was young and I still watch TV, like definitely not Squidbillies, but Venture Brothers, like all the shows that basically David talked about just now. Like I was watching those any chance that I got, and every now and then, yeah, like shit like Squidbillies, which made me scratch my head like, okay, like I don't know why, like that very show just made me feel disgusted deep down inside. Like anytime I looked at it, even like when they had like a little bit of an advert playing like right before a show started, it's like, you'll catch the new episode of Squidbillies at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Like anytime, like the art just made me feel like someone took a dump on my head. Like that's how like it made me internally feel. Like it just looked so gross to look at. You know, like how when you see like art, and if it just doesn't, and like sometimes like art is also like real hit or miss. It's like sometimes like it really will speak to you, and sometimes you're just like, wow, this thing makes me want to punch it. Like,
Yeah, like, dude,
like, oh my god, like first impressions are everything, really.
Google the Shivering Truth right now.
The fuck is this?
Google the Shivering Truth. This is like one of the shows that they're plugging right now, and the whole thing just looks disgusting. Like, it's just so gross looking. Like, the characters are creepy looking. It's really just like gross out, gory. Like, it's not. How is it comedy?
And this,
how is this fucking comedy? It's grotesque.
and
like, look at it.
Adult Swim's also already got Robot Chicken, which I mean, I guess you can argue if it really does count as claymation because they actually
It's stop motion.
Yeah, stop motion action figures and stuff. But like, I mean, like, there are some claymation movies that I used to watch that like I think are still hold up pretty well. I think Chicken Run is still one of my favorite ones. Like, that's underrated, really. Because, like, a lot of movies from DreamWorks are underrated because, like, you know, DreamWorks isn't Disney, and everyone always talks about Disney more than
always
DreamWorks.
in their shadow. It's but they're just amazing, and some of the movies are even better, like Shrek, you know, so I agree.
Like, Road to El Dorado is still one of my favorites. Shout out to Chell, my homegirl. Oh, my gosh, she was...
Flushed away.
I
loved that movie. Wallace and Gromit, of course, which is from the same makers, I believe, which is iconic. You know, Wallace and Gromit has been around for years.
Yeah, DreamWorks has had like a lot of good ones, and like, you know, it's always like David said, like, under the shadow, because Disney is probably at its most highest peak that they've ever had, like, as of recent years, like financially, plus even within like Hollywood, like they're like churning out movies like every fucking year now. Like, remember back in the day when we had to wait like 3 good years for like a Disney movie to come out? Now it's every year they're just churning this shit out, and it's like, I don't know if whether or not like, you know, anyone should be really surprised considering how big Disney is now. Like, they're more than just like an American media company now. They're like an international, basically, conglomerate at this point. And
yeah,
like,
they're actually one of the top 5, I think even top 4 media conglomerates pretty much ever, on par with like Viacom and News Corp and all that shit.
Yeah, sounds about right. And like, and yeah, you know, like, I don't know, like waiting for a Disney movie back in the day was like always so fucking exciting. You know, I used to love like, you know, especially when they had a Pixar. Like, I mean, they still have Pixar, but like one of my favorite movies, at least between Disney Pixar, was fucking Toy Story. And I remember when Toy Story 1 came out, and then the gap between 1 and 2 was pretty big, and then 2 and 3 was fucking massive. And like a good, like, I think 10 something years or whatever, and then 3 to 4 was a little bit after that. But
yeah, it was about
like,
4 years between Toy Story 1 and 2.
Yeah, and like I just saw that that fucking jazz movie that they came out with. I fucking forgot
Soul.
already. Yeah, Soul. Like, I already forgot the fucking name of it just because of like, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was not that unforgettable. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like, it's a good movie. Music's good too. Animation's solid. Like, it's like all the shit that we kind of expect from Disney now. And I don't want to go off on like a fucking hour rant about Disney, but it's like, I think at least they've definitely, it's so, I don't know, how do you call it? Like, it's almost so streamlined now. Like, at least the way they make movies, it's always either about some kind of subject or issue that's going on. Okay, I gotta also take this fucking Google Images of Shivering Truth off my fucking screen, because like I was like looking up every now and then, and it just made me like want to like punch my screen because of how disgusting it looked.
It's
like,
not even dark comedy,
it's
man.
disgusting.
Is how it's addressed. What's funny about it? It's just creepy and gross, but like apparently that's Adult Swim's aesthetic now.
Is
besides,
it?
like,
Everything?
besides Rick and Morty, which literally carries that fucking network now.
Is it just supposed to make you uncomfortable? Whoever the
Yes.
creator of the show is, like, I guess if that is the case, like, you know, kudos to you, but, you know.
Yeah, pre-order another season of that, but of course you have to cancel the fucking Venture Brothers.
Ugh.
Show that had a die-hard fucking fan base. 7 seasons, 8th season, halfway already fucking finished writing. Oh, fuck you guys, man. I fucking hate Adult Swim.
At least, though, they're not basically just getting unceremoniously taken off the air. Going back to Disney real quick, but at least back to Venture Brothers, like, you know, it's, you know, some shows don't even get that. A lot of shows really don't even get that. They don't even get a, what do you call it? Like any way to
Closure?
Yeah, like any way to get some closure, like either making a TV movie at the end, like even some like animes that I've watched, like that have just been canceled right off the bat, like they don't even get those either. It's just you're off the air and that's it. Like, and animes are kind of in the same vein as like shows over here in the States are, and like very serialized and all that. Like, we don't even get that a lot over here. Like, I've known so many shows that don't even get that. So I'm at least glad that they're getting something.
I know how it works. It's just shitty because the show did not get that closure.
Yeah,
but like
and the thing that's replacing it is pretty god awful looking.
Garbage. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you know, they announced that they're making. They're announced that they're making like a movie, not like a live action one. I'm pretty sure it's animated. So.
If it's live action, I know for a fact it's gonna fall right on
it'd be
his
fucking
face.
awful. Like, no question,
awful,
no question. I don't
like
think
a live
that's what
action
they're doing.
Family Guy would be so fucking bad.
Oh my god, who the fuck would play it? John, hold up a second. John Goodman. He's the only person who could play Peter. He's the only one who's like
his
big
voice
enough.
is too deep for it too. He would
Hey,
never.
Lois.
Yeah,
You gotta talk like this. Like, you gotta talk as if he's from Quahog, you know? Like,
Yeah, I can't wait to see fucking Scarlett Johansson get cast as the fucking Lois. Because, like, she, of course, gotta give every actress role in Hollywood to Scarlett Jo, am I right? But, yeah, the Venture Brothers, like, my only thought about it is that show, if you were ever a teenage boy, which, like I said, 50% of the world is, like, 95% of you watching this show were, shout outs to Remy, 5%.
Ew.
5% of women watching this. Let's go, Remy. It's literally just Remy when you look at our analytics.
It's like that one female demographic, and it's just like right in New Jersey. It's like, yeah, we already know who that
We
is.
could definitely have like a hardcore feminist on our show. Be like, I bet you don't even have a single woman listening to this show.
actually-
And I'd be like, bitch,
No, actually,
We got Remy.
My girlfriend also watches the show too.
Oh, so we got two. Go
Yeah.
back to Tumblr. Which, yeah. That's what I thought, you non-existent, in my head woman. Making fun of the Double D experience. Fuck you, alright? What did that show? Ignore me, I'm being dumb. That show, like, really... That show, actually... What the Adventure Brothers is, if you don't know, that show is, like, a very self-aware parody or spoof or take on, like, this 1960s Hanna-Barbera adventure cartoons. That whole show is basically a giant, like, parody of Johnny Quest. But as the show continued on, it slowly became its own thing, developed its own identity, has so many... One of the biggest, like, cast of relevant characters in a show that I've ever seen, and such creative characters as well, with amazing voice talent. But that show... The two quote-unquote main characters, the Venture Brothers themselves, you know, you get to watch them grow up from being a teenager, and that show deals with a lot of stuff that, like, you know, teenagers go through, but in their own weird way since they were homeschooled, you know, like losing your virginity, trying alcohol for the first time, you know, like drifting apart or drifting closer as brothers, like, and it honestly, like, it's like having, like, role models come and go from your life. It's like that show deals with a lot of, like, very real, like, teenage issues, but in its own very interesting, unique way. It shows, like, the life of, like, these two teenage boys who live such a unique life, unlike any other teenager, and how that has pretty much impacted them in a negative way growing up. You know, like, from being homeschooled, being taught by your bed, like, not having many friends growing up. It's, like, it's a very interesting case in that show, and it deals with it in its own way, but, which is why I got so passionate. That's why I got a little
fair enough.
That's why the little torch got lit under my chair right now. It's got a little heated up the cram hole because, you know, they canceled that, and now Adult Swim has this. So yeah, like, I don't want to watch a little fucking, like, gross semi-realistic claymation have a fucking autopsy at 3 a.m. All right, I don't want to see that. I want to get enthralled in stories with rich character development like that show had.
I hope to
dynamics.
God
That show was fucking.
I also think Cartoon Network in general now, like, I think one of the few. I think also Nick, because I don't watch, again, guys, I don't watch TV around here, but if anything, like, I think Cartoon Network, I've seen a couple of their and even some Disney Channel shows. Like, I've seen, like, they're still, like, you know, everyone's still using 2D animation and everything, and it's
You think it's gone downhill?
No, I don't think so. I think there's still good shows nowadays. I think because because here's the thing, I don't try to find them because, like, I'm not a TV guy, but I don't think it's gone downhill per se. I think the studios have just, if anything, they've gotten bigger. They've added more people on them, so at the very least, the quality is still up there. But I think as far as quality as a show, don't really know what to say because I'm also biased. I grew up in the fucking 90s. I know, like, I have my shows that I grew up with, and I am gonna obviously be like, oh yeah, Rocket Power was the shit, even though now that I look at it, a lot of them were drawn really fucking disgustingly. I don't know why. Auto Rocket, like, just makes me fucking, like, I'm no artist, okay, but at least for me, like, I know what I feel whenever I see, like, a show and its character and the art direction. If I don't like it, I don't like it in general. Like, that's just how I am with it. Like,
his
like
hair
Squiggly
looks like a bunch of, like, Dorito flavored French fries from
and he's supposed to have dreads, and I'm like, and again, guys, I'm not an artist, but it's like they couldn't have drawn it any better than that. Like, and not to mention even, like, a lot of, like, the characters' designs, like, you know, it's supposed to be like, you know, because the characters are, like, you know, kids. They're, like, basically teens. They're, like, skaters. They're, like, real, like, you know, X Games type of, like, thing kind of deal. And the art direction's supposed to kind of not even supposed to be so rigid. Like, it's supposed to just kind of look like almost, sometimes it just looks so freehand. Like, Tito looks disgusting a lot of the time, and no disrespect to his character, because I love Tito, but
racism alarm.
My fucking god, like, the way they draw him, it's like, I don't know whether or not he's a fat goblin, or like he's just like like
that poor Tito from Rocket Power was 1200% smoking big gas before work every day. It just came up when I fucking Googled it.
And not even mention, like, Raimundo, fucking Otto and Reggie's dad. he looks as if he probably smoked with them, like
Are
every
you kidding?
fucking day, like at
Yeah,
the what the fuck they call it, the Shore Shack, which is like I can't believe I still fucking remember. But that's already tells you.
Remember
Like,
the Shore Shack? Holy fuck, that was in
I-
the recesses of my brain.
like there you go. Like I already told you, like there is a bias like in my head. I still even think like going back to Disney, even like Ratatouille was like it still is like my favorite fucking Disney Pixar movie. Like, and I know a lot of people actually were real turned off by the movie, and they have their reasons. And I
Oh yeah, my
understand
mom
why.
hated it because like she was just grossed out.
Yeah,
That's all.
but I was like, I mean, they at least drew him like, and even I guess modeled him really well in a way where
Who,
it was
Remy?
like, yeah, like in a way that like you kind of did feel endeared to him, like the way they even drew his eyes and all of that, like
Yeah,
he
like
has
if you
like
look
those real cute eyes.
real close, you can kind of see Patton Oswalt.
Oh
If
fuck!
you look
Okay.
really, I was kidding.
I mean, to be
But
fair,
probably they model them. Yeah.
yeah, like they always draw them. in a way.
carves himself in stone has rocks in his head.
And like that's why I'm saying, like,
Sometimes a bird sings. Sometimes it coughs up a worm.
I thought you were quoting Tito for a second.
I am.
the
I am,
ancient
dude.
Hawaiian say.
I am, dude. I literally.
Is this really shit he said?
When surfers don't hide, potatoes ain't fried.
I think I remember there was
As
one
the
episode.
ancient Hawaiians used to say, the coconut is always sweeter on the tree you can't reach. Never drink milk from a coconut you found in the dark.
I love how all like half of them are just like his own life experiences and him telling them like don't do what I did, but he doesn't tell him in that way. He has to fucking spit it in a way where it's like some fucking Confucian fortune cookie shit, like thing that he got off of like someone else.
This one just sounds overtly sexual. Sometimes the tastiest coconut is found on the shortest tree. Is my mind just in the gutter, or is Tito like he's on that? He's definitely on that shit right now, talking to Otto like across the bar,
David,
passing him one of the. Oh, what's up?
You did just have your longest nut, so I mean, you still probably got pussy on the mind,
the
probably.
longest nut, as you say.
I really do wonder, like
You can paint the coconut shell, but you can't change the milk inside.
David, you know edging, right?
What is
You've edged
edging?
this, like it's basically like when you're like jerking it, like it's right before like you.
Oh, you're just like basically like just rubbing the head off to get that.
No, no,
last-
no.
Get what?
No, it's like basically stopping and then just having it build up. So like jerking it,
What?
getting it to getting it right before like it spills over, and then just stopping, and then going it again.
Yeah, I mean, the dick is literally the absolute hardest when it's like about to come, which
Yeah.
makes sense. I don't think it takes a genius to figure that out. But
like right before you come, like you just basically stop. And then you just keep doing it multiple times, and then finally, like when you just decide, like, okay, fuck it, like it's time to go, like it's time to let this shit out. Like,
well, I
and then-
think talk about teenage boys learning their lesson. I think every young guy does that like on their first time because they're just like, oh fuck, I don't want it to be over. I don't want to nut yet. No, stop. No. Oh.
And then there's the thing, like sometimes when you edge yourself too
Man,
much,
I'm so sorry. This literally has never happened before because you're my first. Oh fuck, it's the worst.
And to be fair though, and to all I mean, not to the two women that are that are on this podcast, but I guess for any future women, let's say coming in, like, if it is the guy's first time, and if it is also your first time, shut the fuck up about the criticisms, okay? It's like it's the guy's first time, all right? Like,
Well,
he
I was
barely
fortunate.
knows what he's doing.
I was fortunate to lose mine to a woman who was very, very, very patient with me and like very kind.
Good for
about
you.
it as well.
Good for you.
That's the thing. I mean, and also like if it's your first time, if it's another young woman as well, like why the fuck are you judging? You don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
you think that young men are the only people who are bad at fucking when they're new to it. No, young women do
Yeah.
not know what the fuck they're doing either. They're not. I mean, women age more. Women sexually mature faster than men. They just mature faster than men in general in that department. So there's sort of that slight disconnect when it comes to it, or that slight like crossing when like a man is like still sexually mature, but a woman isn't when they're even like relatively the same age.
Yeah.
But it's still not there 100%. Like both a man and a woman or non-binary, whatever. You still got a lot to learn. on the way
Oh,
up.
yeah.
It's like you
Fuck
gotta practice that. And I hate to tell you to all like any virgins listening to the podcast, but porn is not good practice. It does not teach you how to have sex accurately.
Sometimes though, when I've watched porn, like I was just like, I've seen like some certain positions, and I'm like, it does make me kind of intrigued.
You're like,
I was
yeah, it hits
it's like-
different that way, don't it?
It's like, maybe I could do that. Like, maybe I'll try that. Like, I really just kind of see porn do that way, if anything. And it's also just like, for me, it's a means to an end. I just like, pop one out and then just go back.
And
to whatever the fuck I'm
Rocket
doing.
Power hentai showed up on my Google image. All right. There it is. That was fucking awesome. Now I gotta close this tab.
I actually had to unsub from some subreddits that I was on because I was really starting to see like a trend that I absolutely hate, where it's just like, and these were not exactly the most positive subreddits either, so that's also on me. But like, it used to, some of them were actually just about like shit that I hate. That's literally what it was called, like things that I hate, or thanks I hate it, and it just. Eventually, I saw too many posts that just started to piss me the fuck off. That eventually, like, I just basically unsubbed from it. But when I did sub to it the first time, it was mostly just because like I saw some funny shit that was just like unbelievably cringy. But now it just turned into something like to a lot of shit that I basically just absolutely hate. Like my gut feeling was just like, I hate this, like right off the bat. And as soon as I felt that way, I was just like, no, I can't sub to you anymore. I can't have this on my feed because. I mean, like sometimes you're having a good day, right? And then sometimes you see something that just absolutely destroys it. Not in a way where it's like depressing, but it's like, oh my fucking god, like really, I had to see that. Like fucking, what the fuck was that show, David? You just sent me like 5 minutes ago. Like, what was it?
Rocket Power?
No, not Rocket Power. The fucking Adult Swim show that's replacing Venture Brothers.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, a lot of shows replaced "quote unquote" Venture Brothers. It's not like it like,
Okay.
oh, hey, we're canceling Venture Brothers just to do this. I mean, they replaced it with other bad shit or whatever. Maybe there was the ratings. I don't know. The Shivering Truth is what it's
Shivering
called.
Truth. Yeah, like fucking even seeing that like just made me feel like immediately like uncomfortable. And
Like, yeah, that's.
angry.
I swear to God, it's like, is that the point? Like, why would you? I don't get it. Like I said, it's literally drugs. I think they make shows for people who specifically just want to get high watching this shit, but I wouldn't want to watch that shit if I was fucking sober or high or anywhere or somewhere in between.
or drunk and high, like those that also exists. God, I remember like I had I went on like went out with friends and we went to like this chicken and beer place.
I would not watch it with a blunt. I would not watch it with a...
Anyways,
David, I am.
I remember a couple of my friends. They not only smoked some weed right before we got there, but we also got like a pitcher for the table. I don't know if they were drunk per se, because like it was just only one pitcher of Guinness, but it was like it went from like being slightly like
You drink a lot of Guinness when you're high. That's not good.
I know, and then just it went from like like hey like this how high guys are, it's like hey and then they just went to like angry raving about like a certain group of people, and I was like, I'm usually always the sober one for that kind of thing, so I was, and there was also like a fucking group of people like right a couple tables away from us, and I just had to pretend as if like if they said anything to me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know them. I'm gonna just walk away and not be part of this.
It's the motherfucking D-O-double-D. Double D experience.
Still remember the Aladdin version of it.
Aladdin.
It's Aladdin, motherfucker.
What kind of music do you listen to? A little bing bong, bing bong, bing, bilong, bilong. It's the cultural music of Kazakhstan.
I honestly think, considering like the social climate now, I would love to see a dictator too. Like, I think it's fucking perfect for it now, isn't it? Like considering all the shit that we've been through in the last 4 years, I'm surprised like Sasha hasn't fucking made one.
It could honestly be a movie where he just becomes like a dictator, becomes literally best friends with the president. Like literally best friends with the president, basically.
Whatever,
up, like, that could work.
Whatever that movie's version of, I guess, like their own like Trump would be in universe, whatever. Like that would be like probably like and almost making it a caricature, considering also like already like Trump's almost already a caricature of like a lot of
basically is, yeah.
yeah. So like just gonna if he's already a caricature, it's like in this movie version we're gonna just turn that shit up to 11 and make him the most like cartoonish motherfucker you've ever seen. Considering already, like, I already said it before, Trump's already like kind of a caricature and a cartoon character in and of himself. So it's like just seeing that, but also just like in a more absurd way, as if it's already not absurd enough. Like Aladdin was supposed to like kind of, I guess, sort of be this really goofy version of like what a Middle Eastern dictator would look. He was like, even his fucking name is supposed to be kind of like, reminiscent of Saddam, Aladdin, whatever. You can have any fucking sort of like name you could think of. Like it could kind of be in the same way. I mean, it's, again, I feel as if it probably is perfect now, like considering like everything that's been going on, like just from the last 2 years alone. It's like literally like this guy could cash in on this if he wanted to, Sasha, but I always heard that he's not really about movies like that, and he's more so always trying to at least break the mold in a way and like kind of comment on a lot of those issues that kind of go on when those movies come out, considering like especially the Middle East and around that time, like everything that was going on, plus the terrorism and plus even the dictatorships that were there. I guess they are still kind of there now. I'm not too up to date with all the information. I know a lot of U.S. troops from Afghanistan are kind of be pulled out, or they're pulling out now. Other than that, though, like I'm not too well versed in it, but it's I don't know. I think it's perfect if you wanted to do it. Like,
probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of source material there, but if it feels like he wants to like focus on making statements, that makes sense. I mean, like even I mean, I never saw what's his fucking? I never saw Borat 2. Subsequent movie film. But yeah, that movie. I'm pretty sure he straight up just goes to Trump rallies, like in that movie or something, and just riles them up with some bullshit. Tried to like catch like Rudy Giuliani with like a young girl and shit. Like he's definitely making comments with those movies, but like you mentioned, it is breaking the mold because he's doing it in his weird, dangerous, fucked up way.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this documentary 2 weeks ago on the show, I think at this point, where when we had the Gigless podcast on, we were talking about Every Woman, which was when those two women filmmakers went undercover at a strip club. Like they started like at like truck stop strip clubs, like the really fucking seedy places, and yeah, and it's like watching that, and you're like, wow, you're watching them sort of break the mold in that way because they're actually putting themselves in that dangerous scenario.
Yeah.
And that's literally what fucking Borat is. It's like Sacha Baron Cohen is such a genius in his comedy, but that man is also a psychopath. He's crazy to do some of the shit that he does in those movies, man. Like I mean, in a good way. Like it's entertaining to see because you never see somebody do some of that crazy shit like that and get in those wild situations. It's like it's fun and also scary to watch at the same time. It definitely has that sort of crazy outside the box appeal. You know, not like what Netflix original programming puts out and shit. I mean, did you hear about this show? It's called Sexy Beasts. It's a dating show where like singles or whatever sport elaborate makeup and like prosthetics to put their true blind date chemistry to the test, and it's like they look like fucking squirrels or some shit, like really creepy makeup. And you look at it and like it's like, how different are these people really? Because all their bodies look the same. They're all still really thin. They're all still really skinny. Is it supposed to be about looking past somebody's looks? Because I ain't see no large people in there. Not that I'm large and want to be represented. I'm not. I'm actually I'm 190 pounds. But like still, it's stupid because it's like, Dennis, I mean, be real with me for a second. Let's all gather around, David's little, comic book corner here. I'll tell y'all a story and show y'all the pictures turning around like you're a bunch of preschoolers. Does anyone remember when Netflix was a movie app? Anyone remember that? Because it's starting to sort of
I kind of do. And I now that I think about it, after you brought it up, like I haven't thought about it too much, but like I've thought about this a lot with a lot of other companies that like really started off small, but now they become almost too big for their britches at this point. Like fucking Netflix was when it first came out, and the first significant thing that it did was put Blockbuster out of business.
Oh, you want to hear this? You want to hear this for a second? I mean, what do people fucking All right, everybody, let's all just like let go of each other's dicks for a second. All right, let's all stop doing that. Let's calm the gay.
Jimmy, stop touching Daniel's dick.
Puking Pluto. Jimmy Neutron is a voice I can't do. Jimmy was voiced by Debbie. What's her name?
I knew it was a woman.
Derryberry, Drewberry, something like that. I don't know the last name.
Drew
but his
Barrymore.
voice, no, it was not Drew.
I don't know. That was the first name.
Yes, Jimmy was voiced by a woman. And I'm gonna go on a list here because what do you download Netflix for, huh? Yeah, everybody has that shit now because it's one of the first ever like movie streaming apps. It's really what brought us into the second golden age of not even the second golden age of television, but like the second golden age of just how like we watch this kind of media in the first place. Because Netflix was still basically for movies. Hulu was really, I think, what really assisted in bringing us into that age as well. It just sort of all happened at once. Here are some movies that are not on Netflix. 1, The Big Lebowski. Classic, hit movie, not there. 2, Lord of the fucking Rings. Also, not on Netflix. What else is not on there? Oh, look at that. Mary Poppins. That makes sense. Disney owns that. That doesn't count. Never mind.
Exactly.
All right, numbers.
Netflix
The Wolf
did have
of
some...
Wall Street is not on there. Gravity. The Godfather. Netflix doesn't have the fucking Godfather. That's like peak movie.
But
you see what I
Paramount's
mean?
got their...
It's like you can't watch the fucking classics.
But that's
anymore.
the thing, though. Like Netflix had a bit of a deal with a lot
Pulp
of
Fiction.
But the thing is that
Oh, I'm getting more angry the more I go down this list, Dennis.
I know that's why you should probably stop reading it.
The Truman Show is not on there. Like I said, Pulp Fiction isn't.
Like Paramount's already got their own streaming service, so obviously they're probably gonna have The Godfather on
Forrest
there.
fucking Gump? Are you kidding me?
That's the thing. I think I ain't no genius on this, but I haven't really been following it. But if you kind of like look at it, like even from like a pretty far lens, it's Netflix started this almost trend, or them and Hulu started this trend where like streaming is like the main at least not the main, but like it's becoming a bigger platform that everyone's kind of wanting to go on now. And it's the reason why that, you know, one day Netflix did have Disney movies on there and Disney pulled them out. And I'm pretty sure like once Disney and everyone else started realizing that, oh, Netflix is making bank off of our shit on their platform, we should make our own platform.
I mean,
and
I
that's
know,
what we got
Dennis,
with Disney
I know
Plus.
how
I know,
it fucking happened.
I know, but like Disney's, like Netflix is their own production company too now. That's the thing. Like they've kind of were really like, not really too much, but like after I think a certain year, like they maybe around 2017 or 18, like they started coming out with their own shit, and now they put their fucking logo on everything that they make, like literally everything. And
yeah, but like it's like, what is it even for? It's the fucking God, it's like a movie app. It's supposed to be like for movies. It's like it
wait. So what's your problem?
Itself.
What's your problem then with Netflix?
My problem is that it has fucking stupid, shitty reality shows like Sexy Beasts on it instead of stuff like The Godfather.
Okay.
It's like it branded, Dennis. It branded itself as like the movie app. Like, oh wow, now we don't have to rent this anymore. Like we can watch this from home.
Yeah.
And I know it's a licensing thing, and I know there are other streaming services that probably take it away from there because that's just how this kind of stuff is done now.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But does that mean they have to green light literally everything?
Oh, and not to mention they even did green like shit like Cuties, which was
that's another thing.
pretty problematic for
I
them.
don't even want to talk about that. I mean, you remember that South Park joke?
like-
They just dial like Netflix headquarters, and they pick up the phone, they're like, Netflix, you're greenlit. How can I help you? It's like, oh, it's not even that far off, dude. Like, there's so many people. Honestly, dude, real shit. Let's talk to me for a second. Let's write a Netflix movie. Let's do it. It doesn't matter how bad it is. We could probably get it approved.
David, here's the thing though too. Like, I mean, I kind of just want to push back on this just a little bit because Netflix, with their policy that, and it is what it is, like, has also greenlit a lot of good shit as well. More good shit than bad. And it's because of that policy that we got shows like Castlevania, which I don't know if a lot of you have watched, but like I've watched from basically me and my girlfriend, we've literally finished it from the seasons 1 to the last, and we fucking loved it. Fucking The Witcher as well. Like, they basically Netflix proved that you could make a fucking decent series about a video game. Like, no other fucking company has proved it to this point.
The
Like,
Sonic Boom show was actually pretty good.
Okay, fair enough. But the thing is, like, real serious ones.
So was Sonic
Castlevania.
X.
Okay, fine, fair enough. But like you know,
And the Kirby show.
Shit, like
And Kirby right
Castlevania
back
wasn't.
at
Castlevania wasn't even fucking relevant for fucking decades until this show came out. Sorry for all you guys who love Castlevania, but your game series hadn't gotten shit. Like, at least in terms of media, not like this. Not in terms of the production quality that they added, like they put into it. Like, nothing came close to that.
Before the show, the biggest thing that happened to Castlevania was Simon and Smash.
Yeah. That's it. And
also
that show was made by a guy who, I don't know, I remember seeing, like, there was a Netflix, there was even wow, surprise, right? Even fucking, they have documentaries now too. Like, you know, Netflix had a documentary about, like, anime's whole cultural impact in Japan, plus like in the West. And the guy, one of the guys that they interviewed was the guy who made the Castlevania anime that we know of in Netflix. And the guy basically, he said like, oh, I grew up on a lot of this stuff, and you know, I loved Castlevania. And he basically pitched the idea to them, and they basically said, all right, yeah, go do it, go ahead, do it, here's a budget, go nuts. And it fucking sold, and did really well. And I think, I also do think though, like it again, you know, I will agree, it has gotten to the point where now they're also fucking greenlighting shit like the show that David talked about, and not to mention even fucking Cuties. So, I mean, it does go both ways. I mean, I know a lot of production companies are a lot more rigid than with Netflix, considering Netflix looks as if they greenlight anything, as David even said from that South Park joke. But, I mean, you know, sometimes you're just going to get a corner of shit. Like,
yeah,
every now and then.
I'll admit, I haven't watched too much of Netflix's original programming. I know there's a lot of people who like it. What I will say, though, just because something is popular, that does not mean it's good. I know that's a very pretentious thing to say, but sometimes, I don't think that happens most of the time. I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, what I like is better than what other people like. That's not what I'm trying to say at all, but, like, sometimes people can gather around something like Cuties, which is insanely fucking problematic and promotes pedophilia. Or at the very least gives those pervy fuckers an outlet to, like, you know, get their rocks off to that shit. But from an artistic standpoint, it could be different. But I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of those kind of stuff. I'm gonna be real. I hate most fucking shit. I won't lie. I mean, I don't like. I think Hollywood is just completely fucking out of ideas. What was that movie that they were talking about recently? Actually, oh yeah. Have you heard about this movie? Have you heard about this fucking movie? Oh, dude, we wound up talking about shit we hate today. Explain what? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you heard about this?
Wasn't bad.
Oh my god, I gotta scroll down a little bit more. What the fuck did?
What is this shit?
It's called Karen.
Huh?
Karen. The movie's called
Get
Karen.
the fuck out of here.
And it is it's about this black couple moves into a neighborhood, and it's this really obnoxious lady who's being all passive aggressive to them and tries to get rid of them. I think it's a thriller. And the character's name, oh, you're gonna love the creativity on this one, is Karen White. Who, by the way, is played by an actual racist. Like, the woman's not even acting. Like, I looked up her background. Like, she's like fucking like she's donated to a lot of like those fuck shit organizations. It's like, dude, I swear to God, ever since Get Out, they're all just trying to be Jordan Peele's. They're all just trying to be Jordan Peele's, and like that was a genuinely great fucking movie. But like, it's like, dude, I'm
gonna give some pushback on your opinion on not on your opinion, but I guess on Get Out. Like, I mean, yeah, it was a fairly like meta movie, I guess, but it and it was well made. I'm not gonna give it shit for that. Like, it was pretty, like, you know, well made. I mean, Jordan Peele's definitely been proving that the dude can direct, and he's directed quite a few already. But I don't know, like I wasn't blown away like a lot of other people were. And I mean, people would be like, "Oh, maybe that's because you're racist." And I'm like, I'm racist towards everybody, so like it's not like, you know, that's not an issue like for me. It's just like I don't need a movie to tell me that obviously racism still exists. I think we get a fucking reminder of it every goddamn day, and it's the form in which it like kind of has taken now is a lot more subtle than it has been since, like, let's say the civil rights days. But it's still there. Like, I understand, like, yeah, of course it is still there. A lot of even Asian American films that have come out, like, kind of talk about the racism that they face as well. And I don't want to fucking, you know, be like, oh yeah, like, no, black racism is more like, you know, oppressive than fucking Asian racism. I'm not gonna fucking stand here and say that, but it's that's like what I'm kind of getting at is that, like, that's like the main thing that everyone wants to talk about now. Fucking racism.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got to cash in on that shit before, like, nobody gives a fuck about it anymore. And like,
that's the key term there. It's cashing in.
Yeah, like, you know, because even racism, folks, is a trend. I don't want to fucking. It is what it is.
I'm gonna give some pushback to your pushback there. Racism
is a
in
trend.
Media is a fucking trend. Like,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. In media,
sure racism.
I know it's an I know for a fact. I'm just saying in media, because at least considering a lot of the shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of the shit. Shut up, David. A lot of the shit that we've been seeing, at least nowadays, is there's always something like about, like, especially if it's made by a director from a certain minority group. Like, they're always talking about it because they almost think that, you know, oh, in case you forgot, racism is like, that's like that's the way that they pander to this, like, to us, like, with that shit. Because, like,
my stomach. Ow.
Like, David, I don't think I'm wrong on that either. Because, like,
it already hurt before. It's like, in case you forgot, racism.
Yeah, like, you know, we don't like none of us who have at least been college educated haven't fucking opened up a textbook and know what black, Asian, fucking any other minority that have come to this country, like, it's what they've gone through. Like,
you say that.
What?
You say
this
that.
movie's not meant for the people that aren't educated, David. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, this
Karen's
is meant
not.
for. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, this is meant for people like you and me who've gone to college. We're kind of fairly liberal minded. I'm kind of like in the middle, really, but it's like, this is meant for us. This is not meant for people. This is not meant for people who live in the fucking South, who have literally never even gone outside of their own fucking state. This is not meant for that kind of audience.
Well,
like,
if we don't try to change that, if we don't try to change that and make more people like-minded with that kind of stuff, I mean, gay marriage would still be illegal. A lot of that changed because of, like, the way the media portrays gay people and stuff, you know? I mean, like, they were portrayed in relatively positive light in the 90s, too, but it was still considered relatively taboo by some people, and now it's not. And now they even have, like, you know, gay, like, two dudes kissing on the fucking Disney Channel, a very Christian network. You know, like one that very much caters to them. The thing is, Dennis, is like, you know, you say that, but then critical race theory is banned from being taught in schools in Florida. It's like, yeah, you know, like,
yeah, but we don't care about Florida. Fuck Florida.
But that's the thing. You need to, like, get some sort of word out there to prevent that kind of shit from happening in the first place. Florida, it's too fucking late. That state is going to hell on a handcart. I think everyone knows that.
Or a hurricane's just gonna wash it away at this point. Like, it's just like gonna take it.
He's trying to punish the sinners. He's been trying to wipe that state off the fucking map forever.
Florida is like, if Mother Nature is a woman, Florida is like the weirdly shaped penis of the United States.
Yep.
Because it just protrudes out like in a really odd way. So she's probably just like, you know, sees like dick, or geographically dick must punish. So I'm gonna send you a hurricane every goddamn week to fucking, you know, punish everyone who lives on that fucking state. And, you know, and if you do live in Florida out there, like, you know, I'm
sorry.
I have my own reason. I have my own reasons.
I'm unironically sorry. I'm serious.
I think there are plenty of great things about Florida. You know, I'm not even talking about fucking Disneyland and shit, or Disney World, whatever. But I don't know. Like, it's, I guess my point is just going back to, I guess, like, even racism, even, like, you know, anyone of yes. anyone of the alphabet people, like, it's, I also think like, you know, if you were gay back in the 90s, if you were famous enough, no one really gave a shit. You know?
Like, no, a lot of people
like,
in your personal life didn't give a shit anyway. It's the general consensus.
No,
Dennis.
like fucking Ricky Martin when he came out as gay, like every woman out there, like
no,
when they cried, like, you know, that, oh my god,
Ricky Martin, no, he's not. No, that was everybody in the 90s, all sarcastic. And shit,
I had to fact check myself. I had to fact check myself real quick.
Yeah,
right,
that's the thing is that the general consensus changed. I mean, there was a time in our life back in like the mid 2000s where like, you know, it was not the majority of Americans that supported gay marriage. I remember the Daily Show talking about that as if this was some like big crowning achievement, and it was a big deal at the time. And now it's like relatively unheard of. That stuff changes though because of good media. It changes because of good media. You know what I mean? Because of the stuff that, you know, what impacts our thinking is what a lot of people don't realize. What impacts our thinking about stuff is advertising and fucking, you know, media portrayal. It's why everybody like goes off on how important media portrayal is and why they want that authenticity of like, you know, black directors or Asian American directors and actors and writers and all that kind of stuff, because you need it to actually come from that kind of place. I feel like to truly make that kind of different, so you can get the up and high and mighty powerful white people to approve it, and then that changes the general consensus of people's minds as it goes on and for most. You know what I mean?
It also depends on how profitable it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you need to like go that like the sort of business.
That's the evil
in order to get there. Like you always say about AOC. Like she's gonna have to play the politics game, that dirty politics game, a little bit, so she can get in a position of power where she can try to actually clean that up and make it so those who come after her don't have to do that anymore. That's what a lot of these movies and stuff are about. It's about like eventually changing that. Like Get Out, like it's not going to change those dipshit Floridians' minds. No offense if you live from Florida, I'm not guaranteeing you as racist, but if you live anywhere in the middle of the state or not in any of its major cities, you probably fucking are.
I also like to think though, like vast majority of Floridians are not exactly the most like gun-toting fucking Republicans out there. Like I think for the most part they do know better. It's just like always this really like calcified fucking center of like boomer ass white people who live there, like, and I'm also talking about Cubans as well who live there. Like they're like the real hardened, like, I am never gonna vote, what was it, blue? Yeah, I'm never gonna vote blue ever in this state until I die. Like those are the type of people that like who do live there. They're not exactly the vast majority of Floridians. I'm not saying the vast majority of Floridians are fucking idiots, but like, I don't know, that heat will fucking fry a few brain cells. Like I've been to Florida, I know how hot it is over there. Like I don't know how the fuck you guys are outside every goddamn day. I'm surprised there's not more of you inside with how fucking hot it is. It is too fucking hot for a state like that. Like, I mean, if you live in Arizona, that's one thing, or New Mexico, but it's like, fucking hell. Like, you get hurricanes too and shit. Like, how the fuck do you still live there? And not to mention, again,
I don't know, dude.
We went over this before. Like, you also got gators. Shit that are actually actively trying to kill you. Like, how the fuck do you fucking live there? And
dude, I mean, but I gotta say, like, it's like
even going to AOC, like
movies,
oh, sorry, yeah.
Tell me that a shit like Karen is not pandering. And I don't know if I want to say this. Like, I'm looking up the director of this movie right now, and I think he's black. So like there is that at least. It's not like a fucking like white director trying to be like, see, racism bad, give me my money, and like just cash in on that when it comes. But it's like, fuck, maybe he's using like the whole term Karen with how popular it is to try to attract people to this movie.
I mean,
the guy literally said that he's happy that his movie is being compared to Get Out.
David,
you're literally just saying that you're happy that your movie isn't fucking original.
David, you know what I mean? Made a movie about fucking emojis. I don't think we need to go on even another 5 minutes about how Hollywood is just basically out of ideas. I think, if anything, even, I'd imagine, like, I don't know, like, I haven't been in film school, so, like, at least I only was in there for, like, one semester, but, like, I still remember, like, it, like, some people had some really crazy avant-garde, almost, like, fucking original ideas for some of the screenplays that I remember hearing from my class that one time. But like, I think after you, let's say, get out of like making film festival type of movies, and then you go on to Hollywood, it's like that's when you kind of see like everything's a think tank now. everything is basically board driven. Everything on all the decisions are all like kind of just based off of what is hot and fresh now. I mean, not that as if that's ever changed in Hollywood, even from the very beginning, but it's like fucking like movies that bashed on the Nazis like were so hot that like literally every movie from like the 60s to 70s that were kind of action based all had like Nazis as villains, because it was always fun to hate on the Nazis, and it still is, but it's like everyone was fucking doing it.
Kermit the Frog
Like-
has canonically shot a Nazi.
That's pretty dope. But it like even fucking Disney also, like when World War II was going on, they fucking drew, like Walt Disney drew art on B-17s that went over to fucking bomb the Japanese.
I bet
And
that scared
also
the shit out of
fucking-
him.
Yeah, like fucking seeing Mickey Mouse like on a B-17 right before it just drops its payload on a fucking German soldier. Like Donald Duck or even fucking Goofy. Like,
I just looked this up. I think Chicken Run is actually the
yeah.
highest grossing stop motion animated movie ever made.
good. I hope it stays that way. I fucking love that movie. But I have like a weird childhood autistic love for that movie. I don't know why.
That's me for Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I
Ooh, the first one, right?
Love that. Yes, the first one. The second one is bleh.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the first one, yeah, it was definitely endearing. I will agree with you on that. But yeah, I mean, everyone always talks about how like Hollywood, like they're running out of ideas, and like they've ran out of ideas ever since like the fucking 90s, man. Like
yeah,
it's
not new. It's just like because like then people make shit under the gauze, quote unquote, of social change, like forgetting that they also make mad money with those things. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to tell when it's genuine and when it is not. So it's hard to like say like judge these things before they come out, like Karen, but it's just like at the same time it's like it seems like it's sort of just playing on a stupid trope here. It's just like, hey, like this is the term that we use for racist white ladies now, so let's make a movie about a racist white lady named Karen. It's like, it's not even like, it's just, it appeals to the lowest common denominator for the sole reason that like the symbolism in that movie is not even like anything that provokes any thought.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was
gonna
say
provoke
that too.
some thought, but like even a fucking 5-year-old child would be like, oh, it's named Karen because sometimes racist ladies are named Karen. Okay, like
a fucking knuckle dragging chimp could see like it's not that like
deep,
thought provoking.
Like,
yeah,
any movie like can, and that's part of the reason the fucking Venture Brothers has more shit than that. Like that show is so thought provoking when you think about like the reason that like a lot of the characters have the like weird and crazy dynamics that they do, and from a much more unique perspective. It's just like that's what's sort of bothering me as well, is that something like this is like it just. Fuck, it appeals to like the lowest common denominator in a way that is just so uncreative, to the point where the movie itself is incredibly uncreative too. I feel like I watched the whole movie from seeing that trailer. It is just a ripoff of Get Out. It is absolutely a fucking ripoff of Get Out, and it's like we get it. Like that movie was huge for apparently it was huge for social change, and it might have changed people's minds, or at the very least revealed some stuff to an audience. Like we established, not Florida. Like, their minds aren't going to be changed, okay? Like, clearly they still live in a state that God tries to fucking remove off the fucking face of the planet every single year. They're still there, though. So, clearly they're not the most intelligent human beings. Carrying on, though. I lost my train of thought with the Florida thing. Fuck. You know what I'm trying to say.
I know. But that's why I'm also going to say, like, like, when people go watch a movie, right? They always go for a different reason. Like, I went to watch the Avengers, not for fucking thought-provoking shit. I went there for dumb fun. And I had a lot of dumb fun, and I honestly thought it was, like, for what it was great. Like, even Michael Bay movies. And I know we give them shit all the fucking time. It's like, oh, it's just real thin, big titty woman, Megan Fox, usually, and nice cars, explosions, and U.S. military. And again, everyone can agree, like, like, that's what Michael Bay films are. And that's why I'm saying, like, that's what they are, yeah. They're not meant to be thought-provoking movies. If I go to watch a Michael Bay movie, I'm usually going there just so I could, like, fucking basically just, like, have a good time. Like, I'm not there.
Everybody who sees those movies are, man, and I know.
And, like, some movies, like, they're all meant for a different purpose. Like, especially, I don't know if you ever watched the Imitation Game, where Benedict Cumberbatch plays Alan Turing. He's basically the father of computers and artificial intelligence.
I know that movie.
Yeah, like I also did hear like through the historical grapevine that a lot of people like who are historians did not like that movie, considering like there was a lot of shit in there that like obviously didn't get it right. That's also another like topic that I could go into, like historical accurate or historical accuracy in movies, and like it's and how like fucking how much of a basically chess match that could be, like just try to getting it right. But and in that movie, like it's like I went to go see that by myself. I literally went to a theater by myself to watch that movie. And usually movie theaters are kind of a social thing, around here. Mm-hmm. Like you usually go with friends or your girlfriend or even your family, like to go watch a movie. And like I literally went to that movie by myself and like I watched it. And I thought I came away from it.
Like the Sonic movie.
Yeah, remember I was gonna bring that up, and it's like, and then we have David who went to a fucking theater to watch the Sonic movie by him.
Look, man, it was cathartic. I just got dumped. I had literally just gotten dumped. I felt like I needed that sort of independence, dude.
You don't gotta.
I was like the only fucking like adult in there, like without a child, dude. I thought I was gonna get arrested.
David, you don't gotta defend yourself. I completely understand.
No, I almost did have to defend myself.
No, you didn't.
I thought I was gonna get arrested.
No, you weren't. No one's gonna arrest you. You're not that important.
Okay.
No one's gonna cancel you.
I don't care about getting canceled. I care about getting gripped in the shower. And it prison.
Don't drop this up. But well, that's what I'm saying. Like like that's why I used to feel a lot more strongly about this kind of thing way back when, because like, I did start to realize like a lot of movies are really much the fucking same. Like especially Michael Bay movies. Like there's directors who do the same shit other than Michael Bay. There's plenty of guys who make the same fucking movie because they also know like that is the demographic they're trying to go for. People who literally are just going to, it's like a popcorn movie. Like it's just like, aha, this is fun.
Yes,
explosions, big titties, whatever.
I know.
And like, in movies like Get Out, like, it's supposed to be thought-provoking shit. And I thought, what was that other movie? The one about the clones who lived underground or whatever. What the fuck was that movie?
Clones
I already
who live
forgot
underground.
It was like that black family and like they.
Oh, was that his other movie?
That
was Jordan Peele's other movie.
I forgot it. What was it called?
I'm looking it up right now. I get what you're saying, and they're not all supposed to be that kind of. I feel like a really good movie is supposed to be like thought provoking, but in not in a sort of arbitrary or undeliberate way.
Well, people have like
maybe
a very
not
rigid...
undeliberate way, but like what am I trying to say here? Like something that like sort of like shows itself as like a normal movie, right? Like something like that's easy to follow, like a sort of like normal subplot, whatever. Like Get Out is like a normal thriller, but it like takes something that plays off of the genre and it makes it about something in like an authentic way. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't like shove anything in your face like, oh, Karen. Like, get it? It's about, like, this Karen racist white lady, and racism is bad. That's that whole fucking movie. Like, something like Get Out does it in a different way because it plays off of a traditional Hollywood genre, and then it goes in like that, and then you walk away from it as something so much more. That's what I want to do with the scripts that I write. It reminds me of Knives Out. If you've ever seen that movie, Knives Out is like, it plays off the traditional, like, oh, the whodunit, the detective with the southern drawl. Solving the case. I mean, Daniel Craig's accent in that movie.
They call it a whodunit.
Yeah,
they call it a whodunit.
His accent in that movie was like, some people think it was a little exagerated. I thought it was cool.
He's too British. Like it's almost as if he's too British to fucking do a southern voice. And that, like, we got guys like Benedict Cumberbatch.
We have the lovely Mrs. Your Muse out here to entertain all of your fine patrons today. Like, there's two types of southern accents. There's that southern drawl that I just did.
And hillbilly.
And then there's that... You know, there's that.
Like Doug Dimmadome and then fucking hillbilly Jim up in the hills.
Knives Out plays off of that because you go in and throughout the whole movie it seems like a normal whodunit and you know there's going to be a twist, right? But then there's a twist on top of the twist that makes it unique in its own way. It makes it unique from a writer's perspective. It like singles it out from other... It singles it out and differentiates it from other types of whodunit in mystery movies, and it plays off of what the genre is known for so well. That's what movies like that's why a movie like Get Out is going to be so remembered, which it already is. And Karen is gonna get lost to the wind as like a movie that's trying to capitalize off a dumb, shitty internet trend, like while on top of being a ripoff of a movie. That's what I mean, Dennis. It's that lack of true passion and creativity and authenticity, if you would. Movie's not out, probably not gonna see it, but that's what I'm saying. Like, play off of the tropes, play off the stuff that made Hollywood great one day, that made it that it used to be great. And then make it great again by sort of reinventing it based on what it has. Use the source material from it to make something all your own. It's like voice acting. You don't fucking want to try and just do a dead-on impression like, oh, hello, I'm Mark Hamill's Joker. Like, I don't know how to do that fucking... If I tried to just, like, make a voice acting career off of doing an impression of that, it's gonna be shitty. You wanna know why? Because I'm not Mark Hamill. Yeah. If I'm gonna like do an impression of that, like put a little thing in there to make it your own. Don't pretend to be something you're not. It's like
imposter syndrome's pretty bad over in Hollywood. Though.
It's
like,
one of the things they tell you.
Directors to actors.
It's one of the things they tell you, man. Like, I'm making my demo reel, my character reel for voice work right now, and there's stuff that I'm removing that I've recorded because I realized later on, oh fuck, in this clip I was just trying to sound like the voice actor that this particular thing is from. Like, I wasn't just doing my own like version of the accent that I realized, and that's a big no-no. That's a big, 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 big no-no for when you're trying to make your demos and break into voice work and whatnot. So
yeah,
I said it 3 times. You get what I'm saying now. Play off what you have, make something your own with it.
Yeah.
Karen doesn't do that. It's literally a rip-off of a movie while playing off a trend. It's lazy.
And I'll just be over here and like I'm gonna just say like there are movies. If you're looking for thought-provokingness, there are those types of movies. And if you're looking for shit that you just want to turn your brain off to, like that, I'm like that too. Like I just like. It all depends on like what I'm in the mood for. This is just for me, and I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other people that are like me when they go watch movies. Like it's like one type of movie that I usually never have on my mind is musicals. I just don't have it on my mind. Like it does never a desire in my head that I'm like, yeah, I want to watch Les Mis and shit. Like. I mean, you know, not even to give shit to Les Mis. Like, I know Les Mis is fucking incredible as far as like, you know, what the impact that has left on the musical world and plus even in the movie world, I guess. But like, like when I watched Avengers, like I wasn't going in there for like fucking thought-provokingness. Like I was going in there because I wanted to see Iron Man beat the shit out of Thanos. Like that was what I was going in there for.
Yes. I'm not saying those movies are necessarily just bad, but you know,
like, and then you got Tarantino, where every fucking movie that he has made has always made you come out of it going like, oh fuck like,
yeah,
like, you know, fuck is in like that was a good movie, and also like the message it left behind, and a lot of subtext that he talks about, like Django Unleashed. Was it Django Unchained? Sorry,
I was about to say Django was on a leash.
Yeah,
and then
until he wasn't.
Like, see, that's another beautiful example because it's like it has that sort of simple, like, unthought-provoking premise, and then you go and it's like, wow, it was thought-provoking. I feel like good movies, like, advertise themselves as unthought-provoking things and then go in pleasantly surprising you. That's what I think good movies are.
And there was a lot more of it. There was a lot more movies that were really overt with it. Like, Godfather, especially. Like, you knew going into it that, like, this is, like, a movie that at least
this movie's gonna tickle my fucking balls, isn't it?
Yeah,
like that's what you think like, going in.
Like I remember, like I had never watched it until I watched it like only a couple years ago. Like that was my first time watching it. Like, I always heard about it. I always fucking like heard my family like talking references about it. I think someone called me Fredo once, and I was like, I had no idea what the context was. and when I watched it, like I mean,
2 at a time,
you know. They couldn't get the drinks at the table. Like I came away from watching it like, and that's one of those movies like, and I also wish like movie theaters started doing this more, like getting classics and putting them on the silver screen again, like having nights.
Yeah.
I want more of those. Like AMC should fucking cash in on that shit because like I would watch fucking Godfather on the big screen again. Fuck yeah, I'd watch it. I've already watched Godfather. I watched 1 and 2. Multiple times already, like, and in the span of a couple years, and like that's a movie that like you kind of like maybe watch every once in a while just because of how like long it is, but like I fucking watch that shit like whenever. Fuck it, like I'll watch Godfather even now if I want to, like, and like there's always like that lingering want, you know, that like, you know, oh, I want to watch that again. It's like one of those like that's also another thing that I think a lot of movies nowadays also are kind of missing is the timelessness. It's so hard to get right nowadays, you know. for a lot of up and coming like people who are trying to like break out into like into that world. And here's the thing too, a lot of those kind of movies, like especially Peele's what do you call it, Get Out and all his other stuff, they are good movies, not timeless. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I barely remember that other fucking movie that I was talking about. Like I wouldn't have remembered Get Out unless David told me. Like even his stuff, which are thought provoking, are not timeless. I'm sorry. Like they're not exactly like the. I don't really think a lot of his movies, and this is nothing against him. Like, you know how like the United States have like a literal repository of like films that they consider like culturally significant.
The Library of Congress, yeah.
Yeah. And they put it in there. Like that's like I think if my movie was in, let's say, the Library of Congress, I think that would be a bigger honor than the fucking Oscars. Like, you know, just saying.
In the Library of Congress.
I don't think so.
Let me say one thing. I'll say two things really quickly.
Yeah.
One, I think AMC does do that occasionally. Not as often as you would like, but they do that. I think they do it like specifically for like anniversaries of movies and shit. They'll be like, oh shit, it's been like 50 years since The Godfather came out. Oh, we should definitely do that. You know, like they do stuff like that. And also, I would like to say one thing in order to make myself not come off as like this pretentious, you know, movie hound.
Hipster movie hound. It's like,
I don't wanna
you
be like,
watch that shit.
My taste in movies is better than yours. Like everybody has their taste in movies, and what you're saying, thank you for reminding me, because I wholeheartedly agree. Sometimes you go in to the movies for some mindless fun. Mindless fun and entertainment.
Like zombie movies.
And I love zombies, dude.
Yeah,
that was me
like Zombieland.
with Guardians of the
shit.
Galaxy. That movie was, oh my god, Guardians of the Galaxy was the most fucking perfect, let's just have some fun fucking brain dead movie I've ever seen in my life. But it's not insulting to the audience. And the reason I say not insulting to the audience, to bring up Karen again, is because it's not fucking like masking itself or parading.
It knows what it is.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. That's the thing. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
thought you were talking about Karen.
No, not Karen. No.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Karen is the kind of movie that insists that it is something that's deep and thought-provoking.
It's deep.
When it's not.
It's meta.
When it's not. We can all tell from the fucking trailer, we're not idiots, that it's a fucking Get Out ripoff. We all, like, can tell that already. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's okay. Because that movie knows what it is, like you said. It's like supposed to be that mindless fun. Mindless fun is something that's been around in the movies for as long as time can remember.
Yeah,
it's
that's
part
what Marvel
of the
is.
tradition.
Yeah.
Not every movie has to. I just want to make it clear. I don't think every movie has to be this deep, thought-provoking thing or whatever that really changes society and like makes us change our thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like a comedy guy. I like mostly comedies, and comedies aren't always those kinds of fucking movies. Believe me, I'm like much more prone to comedies than like any other type of movies. But I just. The thing that I was getting so heated about before, the thing that pisses me off is, again, movies like Karen that pretend to be like this like deep thought-provoking stuff when it doesn't. It takes something that was deep and thought-provoking and knows that it can appeal to the lowest common denominator with it and does that. It's a movie that sort of pretends... It sort of insists upon itself by pretending that it is that sort of deep thought-provoking thing, when we all know that thing is a fucking hapless cash grab. We all know that.
Of course.
And like, and it's okay, because like those other you know, Michael Bay movies and stuff are, but like, I like to say that Michael Bay, I think, is the exception that sort of proves the rule. Because his movies are so mind-bendingly stupid that even if they are self-aware that they are just supposed to be like these fun movies that you watch, those still piss me off, because those movies are just straight up insulting to the audience. If you ever see any of his films, like they're just something else. Like, oh my god, the fucking Purge. I hate what that I hate so much. I hate that whole dumbass franchise. I'm sad it became it franchise, because that
it got big off the first movie.
Exactly.
Like everyone
like,
fucking was talking about it.
Exactly, because I hate what that movie suggests.
Oh yeah, everyone should just have like a day of lawlessness and just see where the fuck where it goes.
Yeah, that's gonna stop murders if we just get it out of their system. Like, what?
But here's the thing, though. Even that movie,
I knew dumb bucks in high school who legitimately believed that after that movie came out. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it influences dumbass teenage minds.
That movie was also supposed to be like, that whole system that was in that movie was supposed to be in benefit to the upper class.
Yes,
because they're obviously the ones that are basically, they got like the gates and everything. Like, no, you're not getting in there. Cause like, you know, I don't want like fucking guys in my bros bushes and shit. Like, you know, no, like, you know, like obviously, like they even had guards out there too. Like I'm sure, like they knew they were gonna gun down anybody that was gonna be coming through there, and like, and it's a little bit more clever than a lot of people kind of give it credit for. But it's like because that was the whole message is that like this is meant to control us, the lower class. That's what it is. Like this whole system, because like we even got a shot of all those rich fucks in that nice house. And they're all just partying and shit, and then outside is like fucking mayhem. Like that's what the whole movie's supposed to fucking portray, but like everyone always takes it in a real dumbass direction, like as they do. And you know, here's another thing too, like if we're gonna be talking about movies that I thought were gonna be mindless, but then I went into it and I got out of it and I was just blown away. The fucking Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. That movie. Literally, I just went into it thinking that, okay, it's going to be a nice Batman movie. You know, Batman's going to beat the villain and shit. Literally, this movie, and I think it was because that Christopher Nolan was behind it, and also we had Heath Ledger as fucking Joker.
Number fucking 3 on the top rated movies on IMDb. Literally ever. Still number 3 to this day.
I also think that movie should be also in the Library of Congress, considering, like, that is like...
Batman movie in the Library of Congress? Holy fuck, that would be so hype.
The thing is, too, though, like, I don't think I've ever seen another superhero movie. And it's almost barely a superhero movie, too. Like, because it's very drama-driven, and not to mention even...
A lot more realistic than Batman's other portrayals.
Exactly,
darker and grittier than them.
It's almost not even about Batman either. It's about, like, people. And, like, there is so much focus less on Batman than, like, the people of Gotham. Like, the whole city in general is its own character. And it's almost like its own kind of villain that... Not villain, but I guess like an antagonist that even Batman is trying to like kind of beat and combat. And we even get like, let's say the high point of it in Rises. But if we're just talking about Dark Knight, I remember going into that movie literally thinking that like, okay, this is just going to be like a fun Batman movie. And literally like even people who I even saw that I thought like, oh, he's not going to shut the fuck up. Like, you know, like they're going to be like real loud during the movie and stuff. Like people literally were fucking dead quiet throughout that entire 2 hours and a half that I was watching that movie. No one said a fucking word. Everyone just sat. Like, that was the quietest I ever heard a movie theater. Legit. Like, I've gone to so many movies where everyone's just either talking, won't shut the fuck up, or their kid is crying. Like, just a bunch of shit. Like, even guys with cell phones and all that shit. Like, no one said a fucking word in that movie when I watched it. And... everyone also knows like why The Dark Knight is obviously more than a superhero movie. I don't think I need to go on and explain it too much in detail, but basically what it did was it took the superhero formula, but it also kind of even like used it in a way where it like, yeah, it's a superhero movie, but that's not exactly what it is, what it's all about. Like, cause Dark Knight and even like later on we even got the Joker. All those movies like have such a big commentary about society. And basically Joker is like that one side of society that just basically like hates where they're at. They think the system is like basically almost engineered in a way where it's like oppressing them. And the only way that they could rebel was basically for him to just embrace the chaos. And he even is in the movie an avatar of chaos. The guy literally fucking plays the protagonist as a fucking fiddle through every single interaction that he has with them. And even is able to corrupt a golden boy like Harvey Dent in the movie. And as he said, brought him down to our level. Basically being a murderer. And
he's an agent of chaos.
All it takes is a little push. I fucking love that line. And like, here's the thing though too, like everyone came away from that movie knowing that it was more than a superhero movie. I know that for a fucking fact. The Dark Knight, the very second movie of the Dark Knight trilogy. That is one of those movies where, and it's very rare that you get a movie that you going in expecting nothing, but you come out of it like being blown away. Like, I still hear people talking about that fucking movie even to this day. And lauding it for everything that it got right. And it almost does very little wrong other than being kind of drawn out by the 2 hour and 40 mark, you know? Like, there were so many times throughout that movie that I thought like, oh, is it not done yet? Oh, shit, okay, there's still more plot, all right. Like I thought literally like when Rachel died, like sort of kind of in my being like, okay, that was it. And then we're gonna get Dark Knight 3 after that. But there was still like 40 more minutes after that whole scene. And we got Dark Knight Rises, and like, you know, and here's the thing, nobody talks about Dark Knight Rises. Everyone always talks about Heath Ledger and his Joker, other than me and David.
Some people say the sequel didn't accomplish the same thing. I'm insulted by that. I think my portrayal as a villain was on par with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Like David, your opinion about
the fire rose as much in that movie.
Like in your opinion, like what do you think? Like, what do you think about? What do you think about like what I said about it? Like I think it being like one of those rare movies where you going into it thinking like expecting nothing, but then coming out of it just being like, whoa.
Fuck. I think you proved my point in that it's the greats that accomplish exactly what you just described to me. You went in thinking one thing, and you walked out with so much more. And that's why that film is remembered as the great film that it is. You see what I'm saying? Get Out is already remembered for that kind of stuff because of like what it did. I mean, it was also a black writer who won best original screenplay. That's all big stuff on there. No one is gonna remember Karen after 2 weeks. I'm serious.
Or 2 days. Come on.
No, 2 days. People will remember it after 2 days, but real talk, like after like 2 weeks, a month, no one is gonna remember that fucking movie. It's gonna come and go. It's probably gonna flop at the box office if I'm being completely honest. I'd put a little money on that if I'm being honest. But what you just said, Dark Knight, it's appealing in one way, and then it comes out as something so much more while still sticking true to what it also is. In that it is starting out as a superhero movie, but proves itself to be so much more. It stays true to that source material and creates something so much more with it. Chris Nolan's portrayal of that universe. Let's relay that to video games real quick. It's why Super Mario RPG, the first Mario RPG that was ever made, is remembered as being the special game that it is. Not just because of the gameplay and because it invented so much of what the Mario RPGs are known for, like create like very funny humor, you know, like lighthearted stuff, like great comedy, action commands, amazing gameplay, deep story and whatnot, beautiful environments, all that good stuff that Mario RPGs are known for. But you want to know why that game is remembered as beautifully as it is? Is because it's very unique in that it is Square Enix's portrayal of the Mario universe.
That is correct.
Which is why it's so different. It's why it has so many like very like unique enemies, why like Goombas and stuff look a little different, why Mario looks a little different. It's literally what you take when you have like one amazingly famous franchise and you put it temporarily in the hands of people who are very capable with not ruining it creatively, but while also still making it their own.
Oh, yeah.
That is what Chris Nolan did with The Dark Knight, and it's why that movie is remembered in the way it is, besides what we said, and besides you proving my point, like I mentioned earlier, go in expecting one thing, come out something different. Karen, you're going to go in expecting what is going to happen in Karen. You're going to walk out, be like, yep, hit pretty much every nail that I thought that movie was going to hit on the head.
And unsurprisingly, too.
More like on my dick than anything else. But
and
that's what I'm talking about, man. That's why I'm literally looking at IMDb. Top 3. Number 3rd, like highest rated movie on the fucking platform. Fucking deserves it too. Behind only The Godfather, which is at number 2, and number 1, and I don't care what anybody says, this probably still deserves it. The Shawshank motherfucking Redemption.
Okay, I'll give it that.
That movie is amazing.
Yeah, and even going back to Dark Knight a little bit, like the only snippets that we kind of got of it before we walked into the movie was the trailers, and the trailers were kind of the run of the mill, like, you know, it's going to be loud, exciting, like, you know, it's Batman versus Joker. Like, you know, that was the whole, like, kind of vibe we got from it.
It was all
part of the plan.
part of the plan.
Like, and again, like, we went into it and we come out of it, like, and that's the thing, though, too. Like, also, if we're going to be even talking about trailers just for a little bit, like, fuck me if all
good trailer
trailers...
hits.
But, like, trailers all are the fucking same now. Game trailers to movie trailers, no matter what the fuck kind of media you're kind of digesting, like, or even TV shows for that matter, like, they're all made the fucking same. And some are more spoilery than others. Some of them literally just divulge the fucking plot, like, right off the bat. I mean, some movies are also just kind of like, you kind of know what's going to happen. Like, everyone knew what was going to happen in Endgame. All right. everyone knew Thanos was gonna fucking die. All right, like everyone fucking knew, but like we didn't obviously. I don't know. Personally, for me, like when I saw Tony die, I was kind of surprised just a little bit because like, someone like there has to be a sacrifice, like there's gotta be something, cause
sorry,
like, and like you just fucking beat this villain that basically decimated like more than half of you, and someone's gotta like make the ultimate sacrifice. Like you can't just beat a villain like that and not have a casualty at least.
Not like Thanos. It's like even my father was talking about it once. He's like, dude, I'm even kind of sick of these insanely all powerful villains because I'm like, how do you justify beating him? It's like, what do you do?
True.
Like, what do you write in to like beat somebody like that? You know?
Even the Joker too. Like you had to basically like how at least in
the
Heath
Joker
Ledger's
won
Joker
in one
like,
way because he knew that he knew that he had won because he knew that he crushed Gotham's spirit.
Yeah, and basically taking the Golden Boy Harvey Dent. There he like
Gave him a
whole...
little push.
Like he was basically called their White Knight.
I would have pushed him harder.
I would have broken him over my knees like a Kit Kat bar.
Oh yes, I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body.
And it's also the reason why, like the Joker. I mean, some people even some people did complain that the Joker was almost like just straight up unbeatable. And the thing was though, like the reason why he was unbeatable was because he was going to the lengths that none of these other guys were gonna go. Blowing up schools, blowing up hospitals, basically sending a message through, basically killing people. And Batman's whole MO is what? I don't kill people. Gordon is a cop. He can't just go willy-nilly shooting people, even though, like, maybe if it was made in a different time, maybe that could have been changed. I don't know. But, like, Harvey Dent's also a district attorney who comes off as, like, I am the savior of Gotham. None of those guys could have done what basically Joker did, which was basically doing what had to be done. And Joker used... And Joker is also, again, like, I don't want to go into it because everyone kind of, like, always talks about Dark Knight. Y'all know about it. Mm-hmm. But, again, like, he was the avatar of chaos. He didn't give a fuck about the consequences because he also knew, like, fuck the consequences.
He was an agent of chaos.
I'm an agent of chaos. Upset the established order. And, again, like, that's why also Thanos, like, I knew everyone knew he was going to die. And, like... And again, you could even argue the whole time
Joker
travel. Die? No. I'm talking about Thanos again. Like, because I think in universe he was just in Arkham.
Yeah.
And he was just in there and forever. Like he was just stuck in there.
No, I was about to say he didn't die. That leaves him laughing. That was perfect.
I was kind of disappointed too that in the third movie they didn't even just mention him, like even just a fucking name drop at least once.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of like pretended as if this guy didn't just have you by the fucking nuts for a whole month.
Time for the new trendy villain.
Like, I even remember there was a novelization of the third movie, and they even talked about the Joker just a little bit, and like, Bane was fucking apparently terrified of him, like, coming out of Arkham because like he knew that if he did, he'd be in deep shit. so they were just like, he was real happy that he was just still stuck in there, and like, I mean, I guess that's one way to kind of just add like how much of a fucking threat the Joker was, like, and that he still basically is. Especially in that universe, like, and then we even got a whole Joker movie later on with the fucking talented ass motherfucker that Joaquin Phoenix is, and like the portrayal he shows is obviously way different.
Yeah, very different type of movie is as well.
Very sympathetic towards him as well. Like, and I also, the thing is too, like the movie portrayed him in a very great way, and it almost kind of like made me go like, oh wait, no, he's still a murderer though. That's the thing. Like, I probably should keep that under wraps for just a bit. But like, when he killed those two stockbrokers in the fucking subway, because they were being assholes and shit, and like I think they were trying to rape a woman.
Those three Wall Street guys.
Yeah, and like, like that whole scene where him and De Niro are on TV, fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
like. All the shit that he says,
very unique
like,
scenario. Like you're never gonna see somebody who's in that horrible of a state of mind, like ever be on like a show like that. It really it among other things, it really shows what it's like when somebody is in that sort of like very very like dark place where they feel like the whole world is against them and stuff, and they're like, they're saying everything is bullshit despite making some like good points out of that, because it showed the response that a lot of people are going to do, which is not always sympathetic, not always supportive. It's going to be like they're just going to deny that because they're just like, wow, this guy's ruining the vibes. You know what I mean? They're just going to that's what they do. They're like, oh, you finished? There's so much self-pity. Like they're saying that instead of like actually supporting him and being like, okay, this guy needs fucking help.
Yeah, because like the whole thing also was about mental health.
Exactly.
And, like, how a lot of people who deal with those issues are just kind of thrown on the wayside and be like, fuck them, whatever. Like, and it's not like, there's like a whole fucking, like, I don't think I have to go into it and how much, like, there's so many people out there that are dealing with this type of shit. And it was only until fairly recently in our history that, like, this shit was actually diagnosed and documented. Like, and now it's actually being well treated. I'm not talking about those fucking insane asylums. Fuck those places. Every time I see those kind of places, like even the one Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson, that movie, I fucking hated that bitch. I wanted that bitch to fucking die so much. That entire fucking movie. You know what I'm talking about? Movie. Okay, there's a nurse in there who basically treats, like, it's almost every, like how mental asylums were, like, back in the day. They weren't exactly meant to treat the people. They were just kind of thrown in there and just as, like, a fucking zoo animal and just, like, kept there. That was it. And, like, there's even, I remember I know you never watched it, but it's called The Crown, and it's basically about, like, the English royal family. Apparently, and I don't know if the way they portrayed this was true, but apparently there was a certain section of the royal family that actually dropped both of their daughters because I think they were considered what they a little slow, like mentally handicapped, retarded, and they had they didn't want them to kind of be in the public light, so they basically just dropped them off in a mental asylum because they didn't want to be seen in public with them because they figured like. Because around that time, like the British royal family's pedigree was kind of like in the shitter at that point, and like the last thing that they needed was this, so they just dropped them off in there, and this was I think around like the 70s or 80s, like basically way before like mental health and all that was taken as seriously as it is today, and especially people with conditions like that, and I think they had maybe Down syndrome, I believe, something of that sort, but and we have like. The sort of help that the state and even like on the federal level give to people like that, like of course like we would have never gotten that like 10-20 years ago, like at all. And
no, there's a war in Europe. We don't care how mentally you're fighting. We're sending you out there and you're going to do that. Imagine if there was a draft today. Imagine. I think
like Vietnam basically proved that how depending on if you're president,
such a crazy time. Like
you ain't getting reelected. If anything, people are gonna fucking hate you forever if a draft is going on. And considering like how that war was conducted and also like the public sort of reaction that people had about all the shit that was going on over there, and people even said like, well, we were dropping bombs on like fucking France and shit, and basically killing like plenty of people like in Europe and also in Japan, but apparently Vietnam is different. And Vietnam was different because there was so much like exposure and like kind of media coverage about this whole war. Like there were literal fucking news teams going to the battlefront and like literally interviewing generals and even soldiers about like what was going on over there. And like we never got that for even the Korean War, which had happened a couple years even before the Vietnam War. Like it was never as like I guess what do you call it, like covered as it was during Vietnam. And like and now we even have, well, we had like the war on terror and plus like the Iraq war and all of that, and like we got news of that as well. And like I think the news companies probably got a tip or something from the White House or whatever saying like, yeah, don't show shit that would be problematic, all right? Like because everyone kind of knew how the war was going. Like it was going, we took out Saddam and shit, and like like in a record time actually, and but then it just kind of grinded to like once they were occupying it, like we were just dealing with terrorists and like kind of just dealing with on the local level more so than on like a widespread military level. And
how do we get on movies to Nom?
and now like the Iraq War and terrorism and all that. But like, and what I'm kind of getting at is that like, even like I suppose, like even movies we got of the Vietnam War, it never glorified that shit. It always showed, and obviously for good reason. I think all movies about war are all anti-war inherently, if anything. But like, especially shit about the Vietnam War, and you know, even movies like Full Metal Jacket, like. I didn't know what to expect either from Full Metal Jacket. Like, I just thought it was gonna be a run-of-the-mill fucking war movie, but Stanley Kubrick always knocks it out of the park anyways, and I will not sit here and deny that I was laughing my ass off the whole time Lee Ermey was being the drill sergeant throughout that whole movie, like, right before he got shot and died, shot and killed from Private Pile, but, like, and the whole sort of message that at least I got from, like, the movie was that, like, you know, war obviously, you know, does change you and in ways that you didn't even think was fucking possible. There's a whole scene in that movie where I think one of their guys dies, and one thing that this dude says, like they were all like in a little bit of a circle, and one of the guys is like, anyone got any words that they want to like say? And a lot of them being like, you know, fucking soldiers, they don't exactly have too many words to say. One thing that this one guy said is like, better you than me. And that honestly was the realest thing that I've ever heard, like, at least come out of, like, even from Hollywood, out of a soldier's mouth. Like, everyone's always thinking, like, oh, it's going to be, like, a somber thing. Like, you know, this guy said probably everything, like, something that a lot of soldiers probably feel as well. Better you than me. Like, you died, I'm living. Like, and I'm glad it's that way. Like, and it's something that, like, you would never, like, kind of just freely hear. This guy had no inhibition saying it. He just basically just said what was on his mind. Better you than me. It's the realest shit I ever heard from, like, out of a war movie. Because, like, what happens every time a soldier dies? It's always like, yeah, I'll take the letter. I'll bring it to your family. Your girlfriend will get it. Guy just stands there saying, like, you know, yeah, better you than me, man. To the corpse on the fucking ground.
I
don't know.
see you respecting that on one end. I mean,
yeah.
As far as those portrayals go, it's like, yeah, you know, I think most of them are anti-war in one sense or another. I mean, some are different. I've heard some soldiers and even people I know in the reserve say they really don't like Saving Private Ryan because they sort of feels like it glorifies it too much. Or one end, which is, there is some debate to that, but at the same time, it also kind of doesn't. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I don't really know. But, what you know what they really say more than anything else is they say, like, when you're out there, you're not fighting for your country. That's bullshit. You're not fighting for freedom. The only thing that you're fighting for when you're there is your buddy that's right next to you. That's what you're fighting for. So I don't know how much war movies portray that, but if there's anything I want to say, like, before we close out here, I you know what we really got to do?
What?
We got to get my screenwriting professor on an episode of the show. I've actually wanted to have her on the show for a while, but I just never got around to hitting her up and asking her. But she would have loved this conversation. She would have absolutely loved this conversation. So I would love to have her on one of these days just to, like,
oh yeah, dude, hit her up.
Like, hear what she has to say about these kind of things, because she's a published screenwriter as well. I mean, she didn't make fucking, you know, she didn't make The Dark Knight. She didn't write that, but, like, you know, only a couple people did. I mean, a lot of people did. You know what I mean? I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm talking about who wrote it. But yeah, no, I would love to hear her takes, because she honestly taught me a lot, and I would love to hear what she had to say about a lot of this kind of stuff. She could probably give us perspectives that even you and I couldn't even think to do. Because, like Dennis always says, we don't do facts here. We're just two idiots. You're just talking about
on
stuff.
microphones. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sometimes funny, sometimes serious, but always off the cuff. That is what we say. And today we talk movies. I'm amazed that it's taken us this long to talk movies. But,
I still say we should probably have, like, a whole movie podcast. Fucking hell. Like, we literally went on a whole goddamn hour and a half. We did a whole episode about this shit. I still think we should probably just make a whole separate one and just do it about that. About media and movies and shit that's coming out and even stuff that we probably hate.
By separate podcast, do you mean, like,
Double D does movies?
A second episodic podcast, or you just mean, like, a special episode of the Double D experience?
The first one. I also need a piss.
I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I'm enough of a movie buff to have a whole podcast about movies.
I mean, it doesn't even have to just be about movies. Like, literally just fucking media in general. Fucking hell. Like, we literally, like, just did a whole episode, David. A whole episode. And we love fucking media. Even though we have a lot of more shit that we hate about it, but, like, we do also love it.
I feel like that's most of what we really talk about anyway. I wouldn't see the point of making a whole nother show since that's normally what we do. I mean, with the exception of sometimes when you or I have a topic we genuinely really want to talk about, which is, I feel like, is none too often where we have, like, a whole episode filling stuff. I feel like a lot of the time we do talk about, like, stuff like this. I mean, I wouldn't call us necessarily just a media podcast, but we talk about it a lot. I don't know if it would justify making a whole nother episodic podcast, because I sure as fuck know I can't add editing that on my schedule. Like, you would have to do that shit.
I know. Okay, fair enough.
But, yeah.
But I'm just saying. I think I stand by it. I still think we could probably do it.
Discussions to be had.
Yeah. Oh wait, David.
But we're done. What?
I need to piss real bad.
Why are you interrupting me to say that? I'm just fucking closing out the episode.
I'm gonna go piss then.
Yeah, go do that. All right. God, fucking idiot. All right, he's gone. Now that we got that dead weight out of here, we'll just go ahead. We are still technically sponsored by the Rise Brewing Company. They make nitrogenated, organic, cold brew coffee in a variety of flavors, such as original black, oat milk latte, and oat milk mocha, which is my favorite, oat milk vanilla, all that kind of stuff, as well as a tea in London fog, as well as oat milk in original, vanilla, and chocolate. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you can get yourself some of these delicious, tasty drinks at a discount of 10% off using discount code Nintoonist. The website looks a little different now. I'm just too lazy to get the other footage for it, but the discount code should still apply, and if it doesn't, well, then fuck, who cares at this point, really? But if you guys want to help directly support the podcast while getting yourself some tasty drinks, we do get a commission off of that sale, and that money does go towards directly supporting the podcast. So if you guys want to support it, that would be great. If not, you can just follow us on our Twitter at Double D Pod, and on our Instagram at the Double D Experience number 21, not number 21, just 21, the Double D Experience 21. You know what it is. We have an Instagram as well. And of course, follow us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Nintoonist, and on Spotify and on Pocket Cast, and we're available pretty much anywhere else you get your podcasts. But if
your mother
and shut the fuck up. Last thing, if you really want to help out, if you listen to us on Apple Podcast, feel free to give us a good review on that platform. That actually does help out with our publicity quite a lot. So it doesn't even have to be anything expansive. Just be like, I like David and Dennis. They're cute. I want them to double team me really hard. It could be something sweet like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just good stuff like that. Follow us on all of our links. You know how it is. We're pretty much done here. Dennis, how was your pee?
Fucking
Shut up. Nobody cares. Lights off.
All right, well, fuck you too.